batting the top of the wildebeest head. Christy, your average lioness will have a litter of around... They can have up to 6, and the record is a litter. Funny, we were just talking about this recently. Oh, there's a little boy on the right. That's definitely a little boy. We were just talking about this morning, the fact that the record for the most cubs comes from a lioness in Nairobi National Park who had 8 cubs. I don't know whether all of them survived, though. Somehow I imagine not. It can't be that easy. But maximum 6, but around about between 2 and 4 is the average that you're looking at. So these lionesses have done well. They've pretty much kept up with the average. The Agamas have a litter of 4, a litter of 3, a litter of 3, and a litter of 3, making 13. Did I just do that maths right? Yes, I did. 13 cubs between 4 lionesses. Is than the others. Just a females. Very distinctive ladies. And they are going to have their work cut out for them tonight. I suspect what they're going to do. Let's see whether or not this plays out as I think it's going to be. I'll tell you what I think, and then we can judge it when it actually happens. I think the lionesses are going to use this drainage line or lugger that runs all the way down them to sneak up on something, and they're going to use it, and they're going to try and get down to those herds that are at the bottom there. That would be my guess, but now that I'm saying that, I can hear wildebeest coming over the next hill. Now, I know all about the struggles of trying to find things and find signal as well. It sounds as though Tristan has finally managed to find signal at least.
Decided at all, and he's decided that no chance will he like us to pursue our varying sightings that we're trying to go after. But what we do have is quite interesting. Here on the road we have a massive disturbance, which I'm going to show you shortly. I just want to get all my mic and everything else sorted out. But if you have a look here, section of has been disturbed. Now this section is all where a big male leopard has been lying down during either last night or this morning. So the tracks that you can see for the birds are coming through the middle of where it's been lying. So there was a lion lying like this, a leopard lying like this. It then got up and moved, and you can see its tracks coming this way, and there is the big footprint going off into this block. So it looks like for maybe Tingana. We know that there was a leopard sawing in this potential area, and in this area, so I'm sure this is for him. We're going to just follow it through and just see where it goes. Maybe we get lucky and we're able to find this leopard, but it's a good sign to see that there is tracks there on top of all the vehicle tracks from yesterday. So I mean, we might find him, but I don't know. He's obviously a male that we know walks quite a bit, and it's tough to find. We will try our very best and see if we can't find anything somewhere close by. It is also a very tough area. We're around sort of Nyala Road South and on Vulture's Nest area, and there's lots and lots of deep drainage sections that make it quite tough to actually see what's going on. Interesting, also lines that are going up and down here. So there was another line that was lying close by. It's just crazy to think that there was a leopard and then a lion lying in a similar place, and an elephant. Not lying in a similar place, but there's an elephant right there, down in our riverbed. So I need to just quickly plug myself in while we look at where is my cable? This is the problem with cables, is that they all get, I always lose them. There we go, I've got it now. So sorry Megan, I'll be with you in 2 seconds. There we go. Alright Megs, I'm now back plugged into the world. So there is our Ellie. You can see when the wind gusts. I wonder if it's the same elephant bull. It looks like the same one from the start of Drive, doesn't it, Seb? Similar sized tusks. Also seems to be moving quite a bit. I wonder if it's not him. He's moving his way through the thickets. We're not going to have view of him for much longer. It's very difficult to negotiate down there. There's deep, steep banks and lots of fallen over trees. It's not a very friendly area, but it looks like our same male. It's covered quite a bit of distance because we had him close to Treehouse, and he's basically just walked east the whole way to where we are now. And you can see he's a little bit shy. I'm sure it's him. He's sniffing around as well. Now he's found himself a little branch that he's going to take with him. Earlier it was quite funny when we were watching him. When we first found him, before we even went live, he was carrying a massive branch around with him, and no matter where he went, he didn't want to let go of his branch, and the branch was in his mouth. It was very funny to watch him as he walked along with his branch and tried to negotiate, because he kept walking and the branch kept catching on all the other trees. And we always laugh when Ellies are like that. They sometimes are a bit naughty with those kind of things. Instead of just stopping and eating, it's decided no, it must come with him. Take away, run. But look at that, just meandering off into the bush. How wonderful. Right, Seb, let's get round because we're running out of time a little bit for all the things that we wanted to accomplish this afternoon. Now, it sounds like Taylor's Lioness has made her way to the buffalo kill. My gremlins are jumping on board again, so let's quickly jump across to her.
She is. She's holding on tight too. She hasn't taken her paws off the buffalo carcass, and it only took Nsuku about 8 minutes of sleeping and of her feeding on the carcass before he realized that the lioness had come back. So that was quite funny. He looked up and sort of stared as if he was in a state of confusion, and then went back to sleep again. So maybe he thought he was dreaming, but he's not dreaming, because there is a lioness feeding on the carcass. Now she seems to be uncomfortable. She keeps getting up and moving around, trying to bite on different sides. Now, a question from Paula, and that is, would a lion eat so much that it would make itself sick because of, well, due to the food availability? I think they definitely make themselves feel uncomfortable. I wouldn't be able to tell you if a lion eats itself that it makes itself get sick, because I've never seen that before. But remember, the way that the digestive system, goodness, that was a tongue twister today, of the predators is slightly different to, well, the other animals, and that means, and particularly for a lion, they don't have to eat every single day. It probably wouldn't be very healthy for them if they did eat every single day, because they become very, very fat. Of course, they are moving around quite a bit, so they do quite a bit of exercise. Look at those claws holding tight onto that buffalo. So they can gorge themselves. They can eat quite a few kilograms of meat in one go. And remember, they've already eaten today. They ate early this morning. They ate their full. They ate themselves full, and now they're back at it again. And this will continue probably right throughout the night, and they'll just have rests in between. And they'll eventually look like they've eaten a beach ball. But she, like I said, she goes from the rear, then she goes to the sort of head of the buffalo, and then she was trying to bite at the stomach. Maybe she's just exhausted. I mean, she has been suckling cubs all day long. So she hasn't really had much of a break. Those little cubs will have very sharp teeth too, so it can't be too pleasant for her all the time. And she's looking around. I mean, she's not starving. She's not gutsing. She's really just taking it easy, having a couple of mouthfuls here and there. She knows it's a big buffalo, and there's no one else feeding on the carcass at the moment, so she can take her time. She can actually eat sort of nicely for a change. Normally lions, well, none of the predators have any table manners, and it can be quite gruesome. Galavanta, you said that will there be enough lions to feed on this big meal? Just you wait. Wait and see when and if the Nkuhuma Pride, the whole Nkuhuma Pride. So remember, that's 4 more lionesses that are missing here and 6 sub-adults. And then there's another 3 Birminghams not too far from here, and it wouldn't surprise me if they come into this area. They would have seen the vultures moving around, and maybe this lioness does some contact calling. Perhaps that Birmingham boy, Nsuku, does a big roar for us, and that will pinpoint their location. And when you have all those lions feasting on here, all 15 of them, my goodness, this buffalo will disappear very, very quickly. But we'll hang around. I don't think we're going to go anywhere. I'm quite interested to see how this sort of plays out over the next hour and a half. Let's go back across to Jamie and see if those cubs are still being cute.
Look at this. A whole collection of wildebeest have just come cantering through. So as I said, things change in a heartbeat out here, and I suspect, judging by the meh, 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 meh that I can hear, there's a significant number of wildebeest off to the right of these lionesses. They're keeping a close eye, not on the wildebeest at this point, but at a hyena that's just come dashing through. There it goes, it's racing. We might just be able to catch it. There it goes. Well done, VM. Bounding along as hyenas do with that slopey back of theirs. And you can actually see there's a lot of wildebeest in the background as well. Okay. We are well set up for this evening's safari, I would say. Cubs, lionesses, hyena, migration. Doesn't get better than that, does it? Keeping a close eye on the hyena, making sure it doesn't come around here. Mike, there's a very good question, and funnily enough, we've actually thought about this in the past. You want to know, if times are tough, will the lioness limit suckling to only her cubs? And the answer is no, not even as far as I know. There might be situations where perhaps the lioness has been seen pushing older cubs away, but that could easily have been misinterpreted. But the answer is no, the lioness doesn't distinguish or favorite or have favorites or show favoritism to her own cubs over the others. I've seen older cubs push their way in to suckle from younger cubs' mothers without any problem, and the lioness doesn't do all that much. It's only if their cubs are being bullied in some way that she'll actually step in. But no, they don't seem to show a preference, which is one of the truly altruistic things about lion prides. But I suppose, every single lioness and a lion pride is related, so there's almost as much value in devoting your time to your sister's offspring as there is to devoting time to your own. These 4 little cubs have done exceptionally well. I can't believe how big they've got in the last 2 months. First time I ever saw the sausage tree pride was when we were still driving around in Chiku, and we had to stand up and poke our heads out of the top every time we did any kind of a segment. What you watching, lionesses? Scoping out. What I've really noticed, and I think it's only in the Mara that we've had the opportunity to observe this, is the way in which lionesses plan their movements before it gets dark. Often they're on a hill or on a ridge, or in this case they're hiding in a lugger because it's a good position for them to remain hidden with a good view of the surrounding area. But they plan, they watch, they look, and I promise you they plan where they're going to go. And sometimes, you can see the zebra over there. Sometimes I've followed lions like the ones to the south, towards Lookout Hill on the other side of the river. I watch them from the top of Lookout Hill, look at a wildebeest herd probably around about 20 kilometers away. Exaggeration, 10 kilometers away. And we walked all the way to that wildebeest herd. It was the only wildebeest herd around. And their eyesight is not that bad. Oh, is that wildebeest coming up this way now? It is. Wildebeest and zebra. What a difference a day makes. Yesterday this place was devoid of the migration. Now all of a sudden they've rejoined us once again. And it's the rain. As much as it has made our lives difficult, it's brought a green flush to the grass and brought the wildebeest and the zebra back. Plenty of opportunities. I also think that lioness pair that we were watching hunt 2 days ago, was it 2 days ago? Whenever it was, that we were watching on the sunset safari as they hunted the zebra and the wildebeest. They waited until dark, and yesterday VM and I spent the entire afternoon and evening scouring that area to look for those lionesses, and all we found were 3-day-old wildebeest carcasses all around that area. So they were just waiting for night to fall, which of course is what we're doing now and what Brent and Scott are doing all the way across on the other side of the river.
Well, as I said earlier, I'm in the Musiara Marsh, and the hundreds and thousands of elephants and hippos that have walked through this area when it has been drying up has created a very bumpy route to these Bilashaka boys. And hello, boys. Now, it seems like one has definitely done better than the others in terms of how much wildebeest he was able to scoff down. And you can see him on top of this termite mound. So his belly's a lot bigger than the other three's. Now, of course, we've still got the other two who are starving, but far more concerned with lady company. So they are from 3 different litters. Oh, bless you. So as I said, they're from 3 different litters, slightly different ages. These 4 are quite similar in age, and the other 2 from the first litter are probably as much as a year older. But even though they've got full bellies, I think the lure of the migration, which is just behind them, will be just too much. It's quite amazing. So the last time, before the last couple of days that I was in the marsh, this would have been impossible. We would have been so deeply stuck in the mud by now. It would have needed a whole army of tractors to get us out. Oh, boof. Happy kitty. Hi, Dina. Dina says it's so interesting to go from dry ground Djuma to green lush Mara. Now, Dina, from Mara standards, this is not lush. This is very dry. Now, when the Mara is lush, I would probably be 1.5 meters deep in water, and it would be an absolute emerald green, not this sort of patchy green with a couple of dry stalks around. I'm just listening carefully. I mean, the migration is all around us at quite a distance at the moment. I'm just using my binoculars to see if there's anything out about. There are quite a few hyena dens close to here, and I'm wondering if the remnants of that wildebeest that these guys ate a bit earlier is going to attract the hyenas. There's a den actually just over there where those trees are. Right next to the airstrip, which you will see there. Resident wildebeest, resident zebra, resident gazelles, but I think a coalition like this will take their many attributes and start focusing on buffalo and hippo. 6 male lions together. Oof, that is an impressive bunch of boys. Now, we're going to keep sitting with the Bilashaka boys while we do that. It sounds like Tristan can't find any cats, and the ground is as dry as his game drive.
Well, Brent Leo Smith, I don't know about can't find any cats. Found more than enough this morning, and it's just that we've been trying to see a bit of variety since we've got 3 vehicles with lions already. Could easily go to the Nkuhuma Pride or the 3 Birmingham boys, but we're trying to find ourselves a spotted cat, one that you still haven't found, and I'm still waiting for you to show on screen. It's been 3 weeks now and you still haven't come up with the goods. I think we are probably about 40-0 ahead at the moment, but we did just hear a leopard calling. So those tracks that we heard, leopard was calling, it sounded like it could be towards Cheetah Cut Line and into Torchwood area. So we're just sitting and watching this beautiful sunset as it starts to dip down below the clouds, and while we do that, we're kind of listening out and trying to check and hear. Maybe this leopard will call again and we get a better idea if it's in Torchwood or if it's in Djuma. So it's distracted me a little bit from our original mission of heading towards the Nkuhuma Pride and seeing what they're up to now that it's starting to get to that time of the day where it's getting dark. You would hope that the Nkuhumas will start to get moving, or even those 3 Birmingham boys. So that's the kind of plan for now, is to start heading in that direction. But we got a little sidetracked, as we all know that I've got a problem with leopards and I've been an addict for a while, so I can't let it go. If I hear them or see tracks for them, it's just unfortunately the way it is that I have to try and head in that direction. Now you'll see, look at the clouds just in front of the sun. Isn't that an amazing image? Very cool. Well done, Sebastian. That's very pretty. I like that. A big orange ball in the sky. Very nice.
Fireball.
A fireball. There we go, Seb. Exactly. And it's just slowly but surely going. It's going to be down soon. You can actually, just below the sun, you'll start to make out the shape of the Drakensberg Mountains. They're not very visible, but there they are, just below where the sun is. So I would say 5 minutes, and we will have a beautiful sunset. Very, very nice. It's going to get very cold though as soon as that sun goes down. It's already started to get quite chilly, which reminds me that it's time to actually put on a jersey, because I'm starting to get a little on the cold side. But I promise that if I do not hear this leopard again, I will head to one of those lion sightings and try and see if we can't catch up, or if we can catch up, should I say rather, with either the Nkuhumas or the Birmingham boys. Now I believe Taylor is still with her lions, and well, the sunset from where she is must be just absolutely beautiful, given that she's got a blonde, beautiful maned lion and a female, or a new mother, under the gorgeous golden light.
It's actually the most beautiful framing, Senzo. Well done. That is so stunning. Isn't that so cool? Now, it's a different kind of sunset. Of course, we don't have a clear view of the beautiful ball of fire that's off into the distance, but it does look very, very pretty with all the thorn trees dangling just in front of it. And Tristan, I agree with you. I don't know where you are, but where I am, we're sitting quite high up and quite exposed, and it's been cold for the last hour now. Again, I regret wearing shorts. I'm definitely going to have to pack some warmer things, I think, for Kenya, seeing as though we're not used to the cold. That's why we always complain that it is cold here. I know a lot of you laugh at us and say, you don't know the cold, wait till you come to Canada or Alaska, or I don't know, wherever, all these places that get absolutely freezing, even Germany. But we're just not used to it. So on these days where it drops below 19 degrees, it's freezing for us, absolutely freezing. I think I've seen an owl flying around too, but it's gone now. Might have been a spotted eagle owl flying about, just moving to a different perch. It was not a spotted eagle owl. It was quite cool. But we're still sitting with the lions. It's not just the beautiful sunset that we have here. Nsuku hasn't looked up once, but our lioness is, of course, she's munching away. She's still feasting on the carcass. And I'm so sorry, we might have to move again because there's a car coming, and I know they're going to park right behind me, and then you can hear them all talking and giggling, and it's not very nice. So let's just see what happens. But let's have a look at the lion while we've got an unobstructed view. But like I said, I suspect I'm going to have to shuffle, and we maybe have to go back to the other side. I can't concentrate also when I hear other people talking constantly. And it's a problem that I've had since I was a young girl, even at school. But she's now stained her chin and her nose with, of course, the redness from the blood of the buffalo. That's a lovely shot. Yeah, we're going to have to move around just so that we, like I said, that we don't hear all the chit and chatter. So while we do that, we're going to send you across to Jamie. She's also with lions, and that seems to be the theme of the day.
Jamie's Pride, also known as the Sausage Tree Pride, are snoozing away quite happily after their failed attempt at trying to hunt zebra in the case of the cubs. And the lioness is just doing what lionesses do best, which is waiting until it gets dark. Oh, I hear that Brian has joined us this afternoon on our safari, and of course there's been some doubts as to the validity of his identity. I can safely tell you that it is in fact Brian. I know it's Brian because he just messaged VM to say he's watching the show. So it is Brian who's watching. And I hope he's entertained. Brian, we miss you. We miss you lots and lots. I'm sad we couldn't share this with you, but there's always future opportunities. For our lions as well. More immediate future, admittedly. Shame, I hear Taylor's been shivering away on Djuma. It doesn't get as cold here, but it does, when you're out all night, it does get pretty chilly. Especially when you're stationary. Actually, especially, I don't know. It just seems to get very, very cold, especially after it rains. But we've found our system now. We know how to keep warm. We've got many, many blankets. VM curls up like a cat around the camera. I've figured out a system where I can rest my legs on the passenger seat and my hips in the middle on a blanket and my head on the driver's seat. And still watch the monitor to make sure we don't lose the lions while we lie down. I did it once. I was in deep trouble. Well, I wasn't in deep trouble because nobody actually knew until afterwards. But it was with the sausages. It was with VM. And it was after the rain and we lost them and then we found them again and they went to sleep. I promise you they were asleep. And I was watching them in the thermal and somehow I nodded off against the steering wheel and next thing I woke up and they were gone and I never found them again. It took me a week to find them. Deeply distressing. Rebecca has kindly reminded me of one of the most embarrassing moments of our TV series. She said, at least I didn't fall asleep on the hooter and blare the horn of the vehicle like I did in season 1. That wasn't me. I didn't touch anything. That was Wendy. That was entirely Wendy's fault, but it was excruciating, wasn't it, Viam? It was so painful. It was the longest 10 seconds of my life.
That happened to me again a week later with Tristan.
Oh, did it happen to poor VM a week later with Tristan? And I think actually poor Tristan had just started, hadn't he?
And then Wendy got the side cutter.
And then Wendy got the unkindest cut of all. The side cutter to her horn connection. And that was that. No more hooting from Wendy. I'm glad that I don't actually know if our vehicles have hooters. But I'm not going to test it now. KJ, yes, absolutely. Our night episodes will continue. We will continue to go out into the evening in the Mara, so never fear. That has not ended, just simply because we've reached the series finale. And we will be returning for I think it's 2 episodes. Is it 2 episodes, Beckles? So 2 episodes in September. Just the one to finish off the entire migration and wrap up a few sort of loose ends. But we will be out at night in the Mara. I'm sure Taylor must be super excited to come and experience this. And we really don't emphasize enough just how fortunate we are to have that special permission. It's really... Oh, belly rub. Chest and belly rub. We really are granted a unique view into the lives of these animals. Big stretch. You can just tell that was a really nice stretch. Resign yourself to the evening ahead. I don't think these lionesses are particularly young. Judging by their teeth are quite yellowed, quite worn. Tatty ears. There we go. Starting to see the signs of movement once again. The Lizard King in Dallas. Now, the Lizard King is wondering about, because I spoke about the cubs' playful hunting attempts, he's wondering about what the youngest is that we've ever seen cubs participate in a hunt to take down full-grown prey. It depends what you mean by full grown. I mean, I didn't, Taylor did actually, and in fact she's probably the best person to answer this. Maybe she has a comment to add to it, but Taylor watched the Nkuhuma cubs tackling a baby buffalo. Admittedly, the lionesses had been part of that whole experience, but it was all learning for the young cubs, and they were tackling a baby buffalo the size of a wildebeest. They were tackling that buffalo at around about, I think they were probably 8 months old, 10 months old. That's probably the youngest that I've seen. I have seen many young cubs, whether it was Shongile and Hosanna, whether it's been young lion cubs at 6 months old, or cheetah cubs playing with the kills that their parents have incapacitated for them. But I assume that's not quite what you mean. With lions, they only really become useful participants at around about a year and a half. So definitely far too young to participate in tonight's oncoming hunt, and I think they'll probably be more of a hindrance than a help. The sun is setting, and whilst I cannot see it at all, it's cloudy here, it sounds like Brent's got a view for you.
Well, Jamie is below that orange light. You can see the big bank of cloud that she is under at the moment. And we are getting an absolutely spectacular view from the eastern bank of the Mara River. Isn't that gorgeous? There's some vultures on top of that tree. Well, one decided it was time to leave. And a marabou stalk. It is just the most wonderful time of the day. Magic hour in a magical part of Africa. Sometimes it's just quite nice to sit quietly and reflect. Of course, for us out here, as the sun starts to set, and we get all our warm clothes on and we get ready for a night with lions. And I think we're going to have an exciting night tonight with the Bilashaka nomads. Remember to keep a look out on Facebook to see if we do go live, if these boys get up and on the move and on the hunt. So at the moment, they're still quite lazy. Well, they have snacked on a female wildebeest already. So I think around 11, 12, they might decide it's time to go try catch another one. You never know, though. They could decide that in an hour it's a good time. Hi, Lauren. Lauren is wondering, are these boys the dominant official coalition in this area? They're still nomadic, Lauren. They've managed to find a spot that the male lions don't seem to be too focused on at the moment, around Musiara Marsh. So they've been hanging around here to the Bilashaka Laga, but they are by no means yet properly dominant in this area. There's a very strong possibility that Triangle Boys might swim the river and give them a bit of havoc, and that could push them on. And that's what happens with coalitions of this age. They will move on when pushed and until they are old enough to challenge for an area of their own. But with them being 6 of them, it changes the story a little bit. Because there are so many of them, they are probably going to be able to challenge or defend an area from a far younger age. Alison is wondering, do these boys have names? Not yet that I'm aware of. Them having any names just yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Moja, mbili, tatu, nne, tano, sita. That was me counting to 6 in Swahili, for those who weren't sure. Now, we're going to send you all the way back to Djuma, to another lion who's in a very similar position to this Bila Shaka boy.
We are. Unfortunately, our lions are also very sleepy at this stage, still digesting the remains of whatever they ate last night. We're still not convinced or know exactly what the Nkuhumas fed off. I had theorized that they were the ones that killed that buffalo up near Sydney's Dam and were chased off by the 3 Birminghams. Once they saw all 3 there, they thought, well, we're not going to get a look in here and let's move off. And then maybe, just maybe, they killed the other one and was chased off there too. But it would surprise me if they killed that other buffalo that we saw on quarantine, because I would have thought they would have gone back to it. I don't think they would have stood down to just one male. On top of that, there was really very little eaten off that, so maybe they killed somewhere else. It is possible, but they're still very sleepy. You can see they're all inside this quarry thicket. They have not moved an inch since I've left them this morning. This is exactly where I left every single member effectively. There's just one lioness that has moved, which is the lioness that's lying out in the open. You can hear there's a couple of birds that are not very happy about the fact that the Nkuhuma Pride is lying here. Those birds are the green wood hoopers, and they're making a lot of noise in the background, and they're just probably quite upset about the fact that there are lions plastered all over underneath their trees. I wonder if they maybe have a nesting site or a roosting site here, and that's why they're a little bit upset about the lions being so close. But these lions are definitely not going to go too far. I don't think they're going to wake up anytime soon. At this stage, it's just buffalo coma all across the Sabi sands. I believe the 3 Birmingham boys are in a very similar state of recline at the moment. They're all sleeping. But what we'll do is, I think we'll spend little time here with the Nkuhumas, see if maybe we get lucky. Maybe they wake up and decide to go for water. It's a pity that it's not a very hot day, because if it had been a hot day I would have expected them to get up and go drink. Lorena, you say these are your favorite lions. Well, they are an incredible bunch of lions. They're probably some of the most beautiful females that I've seen. They're big, they're muscular, and they really are an efficient force. And we spoke about yesterday that the buffalo had arrived back and wondered if the Nkuhumas would latch onto them, and it took them no time at all to get involved and get stuck in. Between them and the Birminghams, they're a buffalo's nightmare. And it just amazes me that even though they've had so few opportunities to get buffalo, every single time we've had a buffalo on this property for any sort of reason, or group of buffalo should I say, the Nkuhumas have arrived and have made a successful kill out of it. So they're a very talented bunch of lions, and it's so great that we got another generation that is hopefully going to join these guys, because at the end of the day we've got this younger female that's got these cubs, and we still don't know how many cubs in total. We know definitely 2, but I reckon there's more. I'm 100% convinced that she went and fetched more. So I'm hoping that at least sometime in the next few days, as we follow this process of her feeding off the kill, that we'll be able to follow her one day, because the thing is, now the den is closed just to go and look at, but if we follow her and we go towards the den with her and she's happy enough to take us there, then we can at least get confirmation as to how many, and see actually if the den is in the same place or if she maybe shifted it a little bit. Sometimes they will move them around over the first few weeks as they move around and try and feed themselves. So with a kill like this, she might have moved them a little bit closer, so it's not such a long walk to go and suckle them every single time. So really great that we've got basically another grouping of lions that's going to come in, and hopefully it will keep the Nkuhuma Pride relatively close by during the summer months, because that female is not going to be able to move massive distances. She's not going to be able to go for weeks at a time away from here, because she's obviously got to feed her cubs. So hopefully that means that the Nkuhuma Pride becomes a lot more of a permanent fixture within this section, and I really hope that this young lioness is going to do well, and her cubs will be raised as well. It would be so great to see the Nkuhuma Pride go from the 5 lionesses. If these young females in the sub-adult survive, and then this new lioness with her cubs, if they also contribute to the growing of this pride, it would be absolutely fantastic. The thing is also is these cubs are old enough, if there are males in there, that they might be able to join the young male from the Nkuhuma Pride at the end of the day. We know that this young male is going to have a tough life being on his own, but if there's males in this new litter, he's young enough that they might be able to stay for long enough together that they leave at the same time and they can become a coalition, which will be fantastic news for the pride itself. It's a long way to go. Obviously, we know that these lion cubs tend to have a tough time when they get to sort of a year old. The first 3-4 months are the hardest, but with the Birmingham boys seemingly in complete control of this area, I reckon that they're going to be just fine on that side of things. They're just going to have to worry about hyenas and leopards and any other stray male lions that might roam through here. I remember earlier Taylor was talking about worms, and I was just thinking about stray lions, and I was thinking about the Solala young males that are fairly nomadic at the moment. They're not really moving around too much, and I remember actually seeing the one Solala male with a massive amount of worms, and it was during the drought last year. He was actually had 3 worms that were probably longer than his tail that were coming out of him, and they dragged actually on the ground for the whole sighting in the afternoon. Eventually the next day we saw him and they were no longer there, but it was quite a disturbing scene watching this lion walking around with these 3 tapeworms hanging out, what we think is tapeworms, hanging out of its backside and longer than its tail. It was really not the nicest, most pleasant thing I've ever witnessed. Now, our Nkuhumas are fast asleep. I think what we're going to do is put our IR on in preparation for them either waking up, but if they don't wake up in the next sort of 10-15 minutes, then we'll probably make our way to those b-boys and hope that they are going to vocalize. But while we do that, let's go across to Taylor, who's with her Birmingham boy and one of the Nkuhuma Pride.
Tristan, that's a rather unpleasant sight to see lions with tapeworms hanging out of their bottoms. I couldn't imagine that would be very pleasant. We have just put our infrared light on, also in preparation for whatever drama may unfold tonight, if there's going to be any. But our lioness is still very busy munching away in peace and quiet, and I'm sure she's actually enjoying this. And Nsuku hasn't even blinked an eyelid. He's having some peace and quiet time now. The flies are giving him a bit of a break, so I think he's actually getting some decent shut-eye now. I don't blame him. It must have been a very tiring day chasing those flies about. You can still see them buzzing around that lioness's head every now and then. But like I said, they'll move off that buffalo shortly once the light fades, and then they'll rest up just on the plants nearby. And they'll sort of become very still for most of the night. They'll hold on and hope that the wind doesn't blow them off. And then they'll start the process all again tomorrow. And soon as these flies lay their eggs on that buffalo over the next few days, it is going to be wriggling with maggots at some point too. But I don't think the Nkuhumas will be around by the time the larvae hatches. I think that they would have finished and eaten as much of this buffalo as they possibly can. I'm hoping that Tristan gets those lionesses up and encourages to come this way, because that would be very, very nice. But she's not actually rushing into it. This is a very nice sighting, in fact. It's good to see that she's just taking it one bite at a time. But yeah, like I said, it must be really nice to eat in peace and quiet for once. You can just see the tail of a buffalo and the dung. She's just having a quick smell before she gets straight back into that buffalo again. And no desire whatsoever yet to try and open up and pull the stomach out. She's quite happy there. All the birds are also slowly starting to stop chirping. I can hear the odd hardy-dar ibis in the distance every now and then. The odd francolin, of course. Otherwise, the night is very, very, very quiet. So who do we think is going to give a call first? Do we think it's going to be Nsuku? Or do we think it's going to be one of the other Birmingham boys in the distance? Or are the lionesses going to come searching for one of the girls that is now missing from the pride? It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Now, it was really amazing. Of course, Jamie was talking about that sighting that I had with Nkuhuma Pride and the Birminghams out near Vuyatela Dam. It was October last year. It was on Halloween, in fact, where they took down a young buffalo calf. It was really amazing. I don't know if I'll see something like that again. I'm sure I will, but I think it'll be a while before I have an amazing sighting like that. Very cool. But speaking of Jamie, she's got her Lion Pride and all the little ones, and it seems as though they're now on the move.
We are now on our low light camera. Sorry, Rebecca, what did you just say? I was busy talking away and I wasn't listening. Taylor's been chatting about her buffalo calf sighting. It was incredible. It was truly extraordinary to watch. Might be something she finds she has repeated in the Mara. You never know. Now, we have switched to our low light camera, so essentially it makes use of all of the available ambient light through some magic that I vaguely understand, and as a result you will not be seeing my face for the rest of the safari unless you really want to see a blurred view of the top of my cap. That is about what we can provide you with. Our lions are up, they're making their way towards a herd of wildebeest. I think once again we're going to have a situation where they wait until pretty much it is inky black before they make their way towards the wildebeest. I don't think they're going to hunt. They're just putting themselves in the right place. Apart, of course, from the cub that tried to come and hunt the back of our vehicle and tried to stalk us in a very, very unsubtle way. It was quite sweet, actually. Watching us with great excitement, much like hyena cubs do in a way. Elena, who is 14 years old, once again watching the sunset safari. I don't know this pride well enough to be completely honest with you. I don't think that they specialize in any sort of prey. However, I could be mistaken on that. I think what we found in the Mara is that the lions tend to focus obviously on the wildebeest during the migration, but I don't think I need to tell you that. Wildebeest and zebra. I suspect that being where they are up on the escarpment, they probably eat quite a lot of zebra. The zebra like to hang out around the escarpment, but beyond that I couldn't tell you. They probably eat topi and eland as well. I'm really not 100% sure. That's something we're going to have to learn in time. I would say they're generalists though, if I had to guess. Once again, cubs being naughty. Not this one so much. This one's just cleaning the tapeworm out. But the one off to the left is about to potentially... Can you see it there, Vim? The one, that one there, to the left of the one that was licking under its tail. There we go. Potentially once again ruining the hunting efforts of the mums. So hungry and so full of curiosity that it's willing to give it a go. Oh, you've got to give them 10 out of 10 for effort and spirit. A for effort, but probably not for execution. Lioness is moving forward towards the wildebeest and the zebra. So far they are unsuspecting. Don't think they've realized. And they are between the lions and their favorite lugger, or their favorite drainage line. Henk, you want to know about our thermal cameras, talking about our different technological advances that we've made while we've been here in the Mara. Not us personally, the people who've made the cameras. The answer to your question is yes, we have tried the thermal cameras on people, and the part that sticks out the most is your face. Your face is very, very clear in the thermal light. Just need to reposition now while we can. Oh, little cubs, you are going to mess things up. The face stands out very clearly, obviously the hands as well, any exposed part of the body, because obviously when we've watched people, we're watching them in the dark, and they're wearing layers as a result. So it's only the exposed parts of their bodies that you see clearly. Oh, I found a road. Whoa. Sorry, everyone. This is potentially motion sickness inducing. They work very well on people. The thermal camera, I got lucky. I got the T1K for the last half of this series. The T1K has been truly extraordinary, and VM operates it like an absolute pro. And the way that we work now, VM and myself, is a combination of spotlighting in the T1K. And VM will say, tell me when to stop when he sees something potential, and then he'll zoom in and we'll try and work out exactly what it is. And most of the time we get it pretty much spot on. Occasionally we make a mistake. This morning we thought a pair of topi was a pair of cheetah, but you know, that might have just been desperation at that point. And then we use it in combination. We are going to watch our lionesses hunting for now using our moonlit camera, but we will probably be transferring to infrared a bit later. Tristan has already reached that point and is watching lions in infrared now.
We have, Jamie, we are using our infrared because it is starting to get a bit dark and dingy in this side of the world, and so our Nkuhumas have now converted themselves into black and white. Now, the female that we've got lying like this is actually giving us a nice opportunity to have a look and check up on her wound. So I'm going to quickly pop out of infrared and shine a spotlight just so we can see how her wound is doing, because she's lying with her legs fairly exposed and the wound itself is there. You can see it's a little slit, but it is definitely healing. You can see it's healthy tissue there. There's no infection. There's no sort of necrosis of that area. So she's looking much better. And you can see she's been keeping it nice and clean, nice and groomed in that area. She's been licking a lot and making sure that she keeps it in a healthy condition. But I'm quite glad. It's smaller than the last time I saw it. It looks quite big and long, but it's definitely starting to close up a little bit. So she's looking much better than that big deep hole that we saw the other day. So I'm going to take my light off and we'll go back into infrared. I just wanted to quickly have a quick scan of her wound and make sure that she's looking okay. She certainly has got no ill effects otherwise. Her ears healed up quite nicely. She had that little gash on her ear, and I was looking at that just now. There's really no sign of it being open anymore. It's all closed up. There's a little cub that's woken up. Now, it's that time of the day that they should start waking. Oh, bless you. That was a big sneeze. There's lots of dust in the air. Seb and I have been sneezing just like that the whole day, so we feel your pain, buddy. Or lady, should I say. It's a little girl that we've got there. That's the best thing about this these sub-adults, should we say, that we've got in the Nkuhuma Pride at the moment, is that they're all females besides one. So theoretically, the Nkuhuma Pride, if these guys all make it, should go to 10 lions. Now, can you imagine 10 Nkuhuma females walking around together and all being in big, healthy condition? I fear for any buffalo that comes across those 10 girls, because they're going to have a tough time of it. And hopefully, in the new litter, we will have maybe 1 or 2 females and 1 or 2 males. It would be nice if there's 2 males there that can join our young boy that is here, and hopefully they can form a nice coalition of 3 and he'll be able to dominate somewhere in the future years. But you'll see that this is how it's going to start. A little bit of grooming, a little bit of sort of licking and making sure that they get rid of any parasites that potentially have crawled on them during the day. Also get rid of any loose fur from rolling around, and then there'll be a bit of yawning, and from there they'll start to stand up and start moving. The general direction was north during this morning, but I wonder if they're not going to turn back towards that carcass and towards quarantine. I'm surprised that with the vulture activity that they haven't already moved in that direction. I'm hoping that they will go for water at the dam again and go down to the dam cam and then from there to the quarantine kill. I was saying to Seb, imagine if we come tomorrow and there's 4 Birminghams and the entire Nkuhuma Pride all around that buffalo. Wouldn't that be just the most incredible sight? I'm not sure if we've ever had that in Safari Live. Maybe you can let us know, hashtag Safari Live, or on the YouTube chat, if there's ever been a sighting of all 4 Birminghams with the Nkuhuma Pride. It would be really cool if we did. It would be such an epic shot of those guys, because we'd have 15 lions that are all big and healthy, and it would be an amazing sort of look of, especially if they all walk down the road together. That would be the best if you could see that. I remember there's a famous shot of the Majingilan males when I think there was 3 or 4 of them together with the Ifield Pride, if I remember correctly, and them walking down the road, and it's just amazing to see all these big males and females and cubs kind of So Snazzy, you say, oh my goodness, imagine 10 girls in one family. Well, Snazzy, I don't have much experience with girls because I had a brother, so my poor mom was unfortunately had to deal with 3 boys. But Seb, you've got 2 ladies in your life. What's it like? Imagine having 10. Yeah, Seb is just shaking his head and just saying no chance. So Seb has got his wife and his daughter, and so imagine having 10 daughters, Seb. That would be a tough time of it. Seb has already said that he's going to have to get his gun license and make sure that he keeps everybody at bay as his daughter starts to get older. So for all those men out there that are thinking about that, you just settle down. Don't get any ideas. So Seb is nodding in agreement right now. But I think what we're going to do is, because of time frames and the fact that we're winding down, it's still going to take me 10 minutes to get towards the Birmingham. So because these girls are just so flat and so sleepy, we're going to head off to the Birminghams and hope that we can get the 3 of them roaring around Sydney's Dam, and that will then maybe inspire Taylor's ones to start roaring. That's the idea anyway. Whether it plays out is anyone's guess. But let's go to Taylor McCurdy and see what she thinks about having 10 sisters. If they all were like Taylor, I feel sorry for anyone that was around those 10.
That is terrible, Tristan. Can you imagine how loud it would be? Oh my goodness, actually, I don't think I'd want to have 10 of me or 10 siblings like me. That would be absolutely disastrous. My poor parents. So, I don't have any sisters, so I don't really know what it would be like. I did go to all-girls schools growing up, for primary school as well as for high school. So I suppose I sort of know. Tristan says he doesn't even know what the noise would be like in that household. Tristan, don't you talk. Ellie's not a quiet lass herself. Can you imagine? 10 Ellies and I. No, Tristan, this is a quote from him, and my mom's name is Donna. Well, most of you know that. And Tristan said Donna would have a meltdown. She has many meltdowns just when I go home and my younger brother and I, Sean, start yakking at one another, or we gang up on her and we tease her. And she gets very angry. My dad, I always tell you this, my dad tells me to settle. He goes, settle Taylor, in an Australian accent. We'll have to ask Tristan to say settle Taylor Jane, because that's what my dad calls me, and then you'll have an idea of what my dad sounds like, basically. So I'm always doing that. But these lions have settled. That's exactly what's happened here. Our lovely lioness has eaten all she can eat. You can see, look at that, isn't that quite a funny shot? How slender her shoulders and her head look compared to her belly. All swollen, and you can also see the suckle marks now. You see that? Now they're present. That's really cool. I'm so happy. I was worried at one point when all 5 lionesses were gone and they disappeared into the Manuleti for a few days. But again, I think I just panicked too soon. They can disappear for quite some time, leaving their youngsters on their own. That's obviously not an ideal situation. There's also no point going back to your youngsters if you haven't got any milk to feed them. So that's why it's so important that she constantly keeps eating over the next couple of months, just until those little ones get strong enough and will come and join the Pride on their kills. Ah, look who's woken up from his slumber. Princess Nsuku has decided to groom himself. Wonderful. Well, hopefully he's going to come over and start munching. Maybe they're taking turns. This is quite nice. And while Nsuku wakes up, let's go back across to Jamie and the lovely lions of the Mara.
Our lions are very much awake from their slumber and starting to contemplate exactly what the night holds ahead of them. We are watching it through our thermal imaging system, through the flare, and it really is incredible. This has been so useful for us in terms of positioning ourselves in a way when we can't really have our lights on, or we can't spotlight the lions during a hunt. This has been the most useful tool, I would say, during the nocturnal hunts that we've experienced. First of all, of course, we can keep track of the lions in a way that we couldn't necessarily do with our lights. And at the same time, we can also gauge exactly where they're going and what's ahead of them. So you can see all of the dots on the horizon there. You can see the lioness slinking her way forward. And then if we look off to the left, we'll see the heat. Marvelous to have a family like a Pride, by the way. And then if we look across there to the horizon, that's the herd that they were looking at earlier. And that's what they're after. And there we go. There's the mountain. Up top there is James in his migration control. I don't think he's there now, but he will be a little bit later. And there are our lions moving across. Now, I cannot see the lions at all now. I cannot see a thing. So what you're seeing in color, I can't see. It's pitch black. I'm looking through the eyes of the camera now. And that is quite extraordinary. Making use of every little bit of available ambient light. I can't see anything except the horizon and the mountain and the trees. There we go. Switching now to... What have we switched to, Vim? You just removed the filter. Aha. Which filter? I don't know. These things definitely confuse me. I don't think we've actually really had a chance to properly show this all to you. It's incredible, isn't it? I can't see that lion cub moving. I know it's moving by watching, keeping an eye on both the FLIR and the monitor. I can actually watch exactly what's going on. It's been a fantastic way. It's been hugely useful, and it was exceptionally useful when VM and I got caught in that stampede that we got caught in. A couple of 100,000 wildebeest swirling around us. To find our way out, it was essential. Little cub. Where's lioness number 2 gone? There's lioness number 1. Look at her. Isn't she spectacular? Sometimes you can even see the heat of where their bodies were if they've been lying in one place for long enough. Egg yawn. Making her way towards the cubs. Gonk. Just casually walk over it. I need to reposition to get us into a good spot for this evening's activities. Technology has helped us an immense amount. Let's go back to Taylor in infrared.
Isn't that so cool that you're having different views of these animals, not in the normal light, but the thermal, with Jamie, and then, of course, infrared of us. And, well, the king of naps... I thought he actually went back to sleep literally just a moment ago. He had his head back down on his paws, but he's back grooming himself now. And I hope he keeps that wound underneath his front, which leg did we say it was? His front right leg, nice and clean. And we don't want to see that getting infected, of course. That's probably the biggest thing that can go wrong with a small injury like that. Like I said, it's not particularly life-threatening, but if he doesn't keep it nice and clean, he's going to get himself into a bit of trouble. He could... he could get a secondary infection, and that won't be very, very good. So let's hope that's not the case. But there was a little bit of blood, and hopefully if he walks over again, we'll try and have another look and see if we can see a hole or anything like that. And up he gets. You going to do your big stretch for us? He always does a big stretch. He's such a funny cat. Well, most of the time they do big stretches. Look at that mane. Look how full it is. There we go. So yes, it is his right leg. No, sitting down again. Oh, big sigh. Back on his side again. Come on now, boy. You tricked us once again, isn't he? Now, we always say this, is that normally when any of the big cats start to groom themselves, typically it's a sign that they're going to wake up. But here you can see that it's not necessary. He's getting ready. He's edging closer and closer towards this carcass. But there's no pressure for them to eat it. Like I said, it's just the two of them for now. I'm sure the Nkuhumas, the rest of the ladies with Tristan, are going to get up and hopefully move this side. But I also wouldn't be surprised, maybe they don't even come here. This lioness, as long as she's got food, the one that we're sitting with, she doesn't need to be with the Pride for now. Those cubs are still quite young, so she's just really going to be going back and forth and feeding the youngsters. That's why I keep saying how important it is that she has a meal. And this should keep her going for a while. But I would like to have those big Birminghams all call and come this way. At least hopefully they roar for Tristan when he heads down that side. And if he does head down that side, I'm not sure if there's anyone's actually gone there yet. The last update I got about those Birmingham boys is that they were completely flat. They were not going anywhere. And they're probably quite tired. They've been moving around a fair amount. They've been traveling long distances. And now they've exhausted themselves by taking down not one but 2 different buffalo. And like we said, we suspect that the Nkuhuma Pride, where Tristan is, maybe got something of their own but have already finished it, so maybe a young buffalo. But we will never really know. They would have gobbled that up quite quickly. Plenty of food to go around though. Now, Christy, you're wondering if there's been any fatalities with a wound like Nsuku has. No, not to that extent. Like I said, I mean, you can see clearly he's putting weight on it. He's limping a little bit, so it's probably uncomfortable, but it's not really life-threatening. And that's why I said if he gets an infection, if he doesn't keep it nice and clean, that's going to be something that could take him down. But no, that's not a bad injury. Even that lioness that also we think, got a horn in her leg, and Tristan's sort of been following that saga, and I heard him say now that apparently it looks really, really good. So that's great to know. And that was an even worse injury. I mean, it was quite a big gash, but she paid attention to it, and she constantly kept grooming herself. And now she seems fine. It's slowly going to heal. I think these lions have had a tough time. Goodness gracious. I mean, we start off with Mfumo. Remember when he got meiosis? When he got smacked, obviously, by one of the lionesses, and a claw clipped his face, and then the flies, either a screw worm, some of the bot flies, also their larvae will feed on live flesh as well, and he had all that issue, and he managed to look after himself though, and actually healed up really nicely. Remember, we were worried. We said we think he's going to have quite a big scar, and I don't even think there's a mark there. It's amazing how that wound recovered and took a few months to heal. That wasn't a quick thing. Again, we wasn't too worried about infection there, because in the end, those maggots that were feeding on the tissue, they were actually doing him a favor by also keeping that wound nice and clean. But they pupated, and then off they went, and then luckily they didn't reinfest that wound. But I don't think that will be a worry for Nsuku to get something like the meiosis, really just because it's in an awkward spot. So unless he lays on his back with his legs sprawled open, the flies won't really be able to get in there. So he's got that going for him. Now, Lioness is sat back up now. She's probably listening. Maybe she's waiting for the rest of her family to let her know where she is. Or she's going to do the same. Maybe she's going to do some soft contact calling. Wouldn't that be nice? Very quiet, though, you can hear. You maybe just hear the hum of the vehicle, but that's really it. I haven't even heard the whooping of a hyena yet. I'm going to do a quick scan onto Spotlight. Let's see if we can pick up on any eyes. Over the top of the lion's head. No, it doesn't look like anyone's coming in just yet. But the wind is blowing around quite a bit, so I'm sure someone's going to get a scent of a buffalo. I'm just going to check my side quickly while you look over there. No, not even any jackal eyes. Nothing just yet. But this is a normal route of not the Nkuhumas, of the hyenas to come back around this way. They always cross and move around on quarantine at night. Very cool. But the clouds are coming over now thick. It seems as though, however, Jamie has changed from thermal. She's joined us in the infrared party. Let's go and see if those lions are still up and about.
Well, we haven't really changed up our cameras, but we've got our setup. Obviously now there's absolutely no ambient light, so we are in infrared properly. And the lionesses are up ahead of us, so they're staring across at the herd. The little cubs have managed to find themselves separate once again from the lionesses, causing trouble. And I think this is going to be the story of these lionesses' evening, unless they dump the cubs in the drainage line. There they are over there, causing trouble. And if we have a look at what's behind them, and we'll have to switch to the FLIR for this, we'll have to switch to the thermal. Behind them is the big herd of wildebeest and zebra that's off to the left. And where's it gone? Where'd they all go? There they are. There they all are. At the base of the mountain. So that's them over there. At the base, at the foothills. Jeepers, they've gone far. They've gone beyond the reach of our infrared lights. And they seem to have settled for now. They know that the lions are there. They know that there's something going on. And it must be terribly frightening for them. So they're seeking refuge up against the rocks of the mountains. There are more on the other side of the Sausage Tree Pride's favourite lugger. That's that over there. You can see the tree line, and you can see that there's dots of light at the back there as well. So there's something on the other side. Little cub sleeping. Where have those lionesses gone? There's a cub going to join the other cubs. Lionesses are sleeping or lying down for now. So that's the setup. That is the way that we are going to go into this evening. As to where we end up by tomorrow morning, well, only time will tell. Will we be on this side? Will we be on that side? I'm not 100% sure. Right, it is a time for me to say farewell for now. I might be seeing you this evening, depending upon what happens with our lions on Facebook Lives. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow for our final installment, for now, of our Migration TV special. That will be at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's join us then to see what the Sausage Tree Pride gets up to and all other assortment of things out here in the Mara. I'm going to send you back across to South Africa for the last few minutes of the Sunset Safari.
Good luck, Jamie, Brent, Scott, James, all the camera men from, oh my goodness, if I have to start naming everyone, it'll take me hours, and of course all the directors. I wish you the best of luck for the final TV show of the Migration series. You guys have done an absolutely sterling job. We are very, very proud of you. Now, our lioness has moved off. I think she's going to go and have a drink. But look how excited Nsuku is. I'm going to stay with him. Tristan says he might try and follow up on the female that's going to go and have a drink now. You might even see her on the dam cam. Actually, that's a good idea. If the dam cam is working, go and have a look. Are those flies still bothering you, my boy? You can't seem to get away from him. Either that or he's snarling at the sky. I'm sure it's the flies. He's now said, I'm not going to... Where are you going? He's doing the same thing as what that lioness did earlier. Walked around, wasn't quite sure where he was going to eat, and then ended up just munching on the rear end. But watch the pure power as he tries and maneuvers. It's incredible how a big lion like this can really just throw a buffalo around. You don't realize their strength until A, you either watch them taking down a kill, or B, you see them arguing and pulling around a carcass as if it weighed absolutely nothing. It's so impressive. And again, it's humbling. It just reminds you how lucky you are to have these big, well, how lucky we are, because we're the ones sitting here, I suppose, to have these cats walk right past the car and absolutely ignore us. Because if they wanted to, we would not be a threat at all. So very, very lucky. But you lazy boy. I was hoping we were going to see them opening up the stomach. It's always really interesting to see all the innards of the animal. Well, like for instance the buffalo. See how big their intestine really is and how large their stomachs are. It's actually really cool and quite intriguing to see. But that might not be the case just yet. But I'm loving the infrared. I always tell you how I love it. It's so amazing. Munching away. You're not so sure? Have you all of a sudden discovered a new species of night fly in Nsuku? I think they do it on purpose just to annoy him. Huh? What was that? I don't even think he knew what sound he made. He's reminding me of Tumba now. The way he's snapping at the air. Come on. You're the biggest cat out here and you're letting a couple of small little flies just bother you. That's a bit silly, isn't it? Oh no, the flies are coming towards me. I can hear them buzzing around my head. Perhaps they heard me mocking him. Payback. Please don't sit on my nose or in my mouth. I know where you've been, flies. That would be really quite gross. Let's see if he's going to eat as gently as that lioness did. Although she actually ate quite a bit. She had a big belly. She'll come back this way eventually. But I think that she's eaten, now that they've fed on sort of the rear end for a couple of hours now, I don't think that there's going to be much from that side. He's eventually going to have to make the decision to open up this carcass properly, or at least move onto his shoulder and onto that buffalo's neck. No, you're doing the carnassial share on a piece of flesh. Awesome. Right, we're going to stick around. Let's see where Tristan is and what his plans are. Hopefully he's going to find you some more big cats.
Well, Taylor, we had to unfortunately abandon our Birmingham plan because one is that they're too far away for our infrared to reach, and the second is that we had no signal. So Rusty this afternoon, I don't know what Rusty's problem is, but Rusty's decided, nope, it's Friday night, I'm not going far from home, I want to keep it local. And so Rusty didn't want to get reception, so we've now come back down towards the dam and towards Vuatela and just see if we can't find anything that's lurking around here. At the end of the day, we probably a bit late to try and get back towards the Nkuhuma Pride. They've probably, still sleeping, and it's a little too far for the amount of time that we've got left. So I'll just try and scan around. Maybe we get this lioness that left the kill where Taylor is. I actually have no idea where Taylor is at all. So I'm just scanning around trying to see maybe she's on her way for water or to go join the Pride. Or she's still lying at the carcass. But apparently she was moving, and so I wonder if she isn't going to pop out somewhere in this general vicinity. It's always good just to have a little look. It would be nice if she went back to the Pride, wouldn't it? Just to see her just kind of join for a little bit and just reassure and get everybody all together. But there's no sign of her coming out onto Vuatela access as yet. Unless I completely missed her, which is also possible. These things do happen with spotlights. You sometimes can just completely miss where somebody is, well, a lioness or a lion if they don't look in your direction. Jeremiah, you say time for a last minute leopard. Exactly, Jeremiah. I think it's that time of the evening where one of our leopards needs to pop out. I'd be surprised if we found a leopard though, because at this stage of the day, these lions are all over the place at the moment, which means that if you're a leopard, it's not going to be a very easy place to spend much time. You're going to have a lot of disturbance during the night, so not an ideal place to be. But I can see Taylor's light from where I am, so if that lioness moved off, she must have come towards this direction. There's lots of impalas around that are quiet, so I don't think our lioness is anywhere around here. I think she's in all likelihood probably somewhere back where Taylor is. Maybe she's gone and lay down not too far from where Taylor is, closer towards where Taylor access side, but she's not on the access and she's not walking across quarantine just yet. Still can't believe I actually missed that carcass this morning. I suppose it is a little bit further away than I first thought. I was kind of right there this morning and we thought we heard a noise for lions feeding and we just dismissed it a little bit as elephants, but we were right there. We could have found that carcass first thing, but that's the way it goes. It was much easier for Byron to follow that male lion there. It's always the winning formula is to find the lions and drinking and then just follow them along. It always helps and is a much easier way of doing things. But no, so many impalas and kudu and various other things that are spread across quarantine clearings. I don't think that female could have come through this way yet. She must be lying somewhere near Taylor that side. Anyway, it's been at least a wonderful afternoon. I think this is the first time ever that we've had all 4 vehicles with lions. I don't think we've had that before. The other day we had 3 vehicles with lions and 1 with a leopard, but I think it's the first time for Safari Live to have all of our vehicles with lions in the 2 locations, so that's pretty incredible. So we had Nkuhuma Pride, the Birmingham boys, and then the lions up in the Mara as well, which I'm not sure which ones they had today. We're still trying to learn all of those, and obviously with us not being there, it's a little tougher to remember who is who, but we try and watch and see who's walking about where and what their names are, but I honestly don't know them very well at all. I'm sure Taylor's super excited to go and see these lions and to go and learn all of the new prides and try and see. I know she's very excited about the cheetah. I'm sure she's going to have a wonderful time with them as well. So it's, in terms of having a last drive, I think Taylor's had a very nice one here, and hopefully her luck will continue to grow and to continue to move into the Mara, and she'll see a lot of cats for themselves, or for her, in the Mara. Now, Byron, you say that you're very excited to have Djuma to yourself, so for those of you that are unaware of what Byron is on about, basically Taylor goes to Kenya tomorrow, I go on leave on Sunday morning, which means that it's just Byron by himself at Djuma for a week. So he's going to obviously take over with you, Seb. Good luck, Seb. So Seb is just giggling behind me when I said that. But no, in all honesty, you guys will have a wonderful time with Byron. He's always up to something and is always having a good bit of fun and likes to have a bit of a chat with everyone. So he's going to take over the Djuma side, and Mara will be out and about every day, with Taylor being that side, and then I'll be back with Ellie in September. Actually, it's quite crazy to think I'll be back into September. Right, well, we're going to slowly meander our way home. It's that time of the night. We think we've had a very successful afternoon, and because we're meandering our way home, let's go across, I think, to Taylor. I didn't really hear Megan because I was talking too much, but let's go across and see who it is. It could be Brent, it could be Taylor, it could be Jamie. Either way, all of them have long hair, and, well, they're all pretty loud. I suppose not Jamie, actually, she's quite quiet.
Thanks, T. I'm definitely going to miss the banter, but don't worry, when we pop in and we do the internet show, I'm totally going to give it straight back to you all the way. I actually probably feel a little bit braver and say some scarier things, maybe. But this is really nice. So Nsuku has now moved around. He actually pulled the carcass at one point. He moved it so easily, and now he's munching underneath its arm. Now, Jackie, you're wondering if they'll finish this buffalo off or they'll let it get wasted. They haven't had buffalo for quite some time. Well, not on Djuma, so they're eating at a different venue, of course. So I think that they'll definitely finish this. And Nsuku keeps looking around, so I don't know if he's maybe hearing that other lioness or if somebody's doing a softer call that we just can't hear because of the wind. The wind is gusting quite a bit now, so we won't be able to hear the sounds of the bush as well as we're normally able to. So I think, yes, I think that they will. I don't think Nsuku is going to go anywhere. I think he's quite happy to stay here and munch away until there's nothing left of this buffalo. And also he's got a little bit of an injury, so it wouldn't make sense for him to go off when he's got a meal right in front of him. Last year they were very picky because there were so many dying buffalo around every corner. I kid you not. There were literally dead buffalo, and they could walk from one buffalo to the other. They'd walk past them often. So I don't think that that's the case this year. It's a little bit more difficult for the predators. Off he goes. So apparently Mia and many others, you're wishing me luck and you can't wait to see me bumbling around in Mara. I'm so excited. So thank you very much for all the kind messages. Like I said, I'm not disappearing forever. I'm just moving to another country for a little bit, but I'll still be around. You'll still hear my voice. And I can't wait to get lost in the Mara Triangle. Isn't that going to be exciting? A new place that I can say I got lost in. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure I'll hopefully learn the ropes quite quickly, which will be very exciting. Byron said that he's only going to miss me for 5 minutes and then he doesn't care anymore. That sounds like a thing that Byron would say, and only a brother would say to me. I'm definitely going to miss everybody here. We really have grown as a team over the last couple of months. It's been amazing, but I can't wait. I'll be here for Christmas and New Year's. Woo! At Djuma. So exciting. Christmas hat is coming out again, of course, and we're going to have all those same festivities. Hopefully no gremlins this year, though. I'd like to spend Christmas with all of you, my extended family, really, isn't it? But thank you all for a wonderful day. Of course, thanks to the Mara team for jumping in, and again, we wish you good luck. Remember to tune in. The show will start an hour earlier, so it'll be 5 a.m. Central African time. Don't miss it. But from all of us here in the Sabi Sand of South Africa, we wish you a wonderful Friday, and we hope you have a lovely night.